So today we are going to be talking about from coding to startup. So here we have Ahmed Olarewaju. Yeah, Ahmed Olarewaju is a full-stack software engineer with over 7 years of experience leading cross-functional teams and building amazing tech solutions. He is a mobile, web, and backend whiz, passionate with empowering teams and designing scalable systems. But Ahmed talent go beyond code. He is also deeply interested in artificial intelligence, which is AI, especially generative AI and retrieval augmented generation. He is passionate about using technology for good, focusing on areas like fintech, renewable energy, and trade automation. In his free time, you might find Ahmed Olarewaju creating tech videos, acquiring video games, tackling DIY projects, or exploring new horizons. Please join me in welcoming Ahmed Olarewaju by making a reaction. So the next thing on our agenda today is I'm going to I'm going to briefly talk about I'm going to briefly talk about the exciting landscape of tech startup and the increasing number of coders venturing into entrepreneurship. And also, I'm going to highlight the challenges and opportunities that come with launching a startup from coder perspective. And at the same time, I'm going to briefly introduce the workshop objective before we get started with Ahmed Olawewaju's presentation. So now, the world of tech startups is booming, as we all know that. So more and more coders armed with their technical skill and taking the leap of entrepreneurship. So this is exciting because it brings fresh idea and innovative solution to the table. However, launching a startup from a coder perspective comes with its own set of challenges, as you all know that. You might need to broaden your skill sets beyond coding to understand business aspects like marketing and finance. That is where the workshop comes in. So today will equip you with the knowledge and tools to bridge this gap. We are going to provide actionable steps for launching successful tech ventures from concept to reality. And most importantly, we will foster a network of aspiring entrepreneurs and coders to support each other on this exciting journey. So, and again, Ahmed Olarewaju, highlighting his impressive background as a full-stack software engineer with a passion of AI and building a impactful tech solution. Please help me to welcome him once again. So Ahmed Olarewaju, you have the floor now. Thank you so much.
Hi, good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
I would
Good
like
evening,
to
sir.
confirm if you can hear me. All right, great. Yeah, I'm so much excited to be among the founders. I won't say founders of tomorrow, but I'll say founders of today because the journey of becoming an entrepreneur starts now, is not tomorrow. So, as I've been introduced to everyone, my name is Ahmed Olarewaju, and commonly from the Ilorin Tech community, I'm commonly known as AMZ. Yeah, so just not to dive into some of the introduction, I want us to hit the nail at the head. So by diving into what the focus of today workshop is all about. So, but before I dive in, I would also like to kind of do a little bit of knowing the audience here. So I know this talk is for dynamic audience. We have students in our midst. We also have graduates already into working in a tech startup or building their own personal solutions. And we also have professionals that are already in this space who they want to come and add to what we're talking about here or take an insight from our discussion today. So, because this talk is supposed to be divided into two aspects, so the concept of trying to understand how to have a builder mindset from you being a software developer, website designer, either product design or even software development as a whole. How do you build your builder mindset to understanding what it takes to become a tech entrepreneur? And if you are successful in getting hold of that, another aspect of the talk, which is like a part two of this talk, we might not really dive in deeper, but we're also going to touch base on it is after you've successfully have this startup launch, what is next? Because a lot of people find it difficult to even get to the stage of launching the startup. You get so here we are going to try as much as possible to at least put ourselves through how do we get to that stage, just like the topic coding to startup, how do we get to the stage of even having an established startup. Then maybe in a future talk, if we time permit us, or even on this same session, we can try to dive into how do you successfully run your startup, at least to become one of the unicorn startup, starting from your environment here in Nigeria, African and worldwide. So I'll be sharing my screen as we dive into the talk deeper. So please confirm if you can see my screen. I think I might not be able to see emoji right now, so maybe you can mute or unmute your
Yeah,
mic
I can see it.
and see my screen. Okay, great. So today we'll be talking about from coding to startup. One of the interesting parts about this topic is, there are sometimes we've been assigned a topic that maybe it's not really something that has to do with maybe your day to day or way of life, but this topic 100% resonate with me for the fact that I've been there, I'm still in the journey and, rolling the boats with you. So I will say again that if not a very 100% right person to be on this talk with you, I will say I'm also a learner with you on this journey. So as we find it interesting to dive in. So what do we understand by coding to startup? So first off, you need to understand where does the journey begin. A lot of us, maybe from primary school, secondary school, we've heard a lot of things about tech. We've also heard a lot of buzzword about startups. We've also been one way or the other interface with using some of these products in our day-to-day activity. So example of this product is like our banking apps we use every day and our ride hailing app we use every day. Some of these products have where it's all begin. So it's a journey and it's also a process. And for every journey, there's always a start point. And as you transit over in the journey, you can have a lot of diversification around where you are heading to. But the end goal for every journey is to achieve a destination. So here today, for us to be on one page, while we proceed with this talk, I'll first of all want to let us have a builder's mindset as we start this talk, so that when I'm transiting and taking you to some of the pages in this slide, you've already prepared your mind ahead about what this talk is for and what are the benefits you are going to be taking away from this talk. So yeah, to have a builder mindset is not about the English text now. It's something that has to do with yourself and an ability to be able to solve a problem. So I used to tell people every time you don't necessarily need to know how to code before you solve a problem. Likewise, you don't necessarily need to first off be in a kind of have a tech background before you solve a problem. Solving problem has to do with some traits by having that attribute in you in, oh, I really want to solve a problem. So one of the key things that you need to have as a builder or as an entrepreneur as you aspire to become one is to also have the curiosity mindset. So curiosity mindset has to do with the zeal that you want to learn more. So I used to tell people that the internet is full of a lot of information now, and we are the era of AI where there's a lot of information overload. And sometimes I used to have fear about new people coming into tech as there is no direct path and guidance into how they can easily transit into becoming either a full stack engineer, a front end engineer, because there's a lot of content out there to consume. So one of the reason is this kind of talk we are having where we bring an expert to also kind of navigate that path for you in a narrow streamline way so that you don't have to go that route of information overload. So again, when you are looking into being a consistent builder, like having that mindset, you also need to understand the need to be adaptable. So adaptability comes in the fact that it is not every time that what you want will always come. Like just more or less like if you write code every time, sometimes you can encounter bugs, which is like what leads to the code not working. So most time, what we intended as the result most often might not later come. But at the end of the day, when you have the adaptivity mindset and also flexible mind, you can easily be able to adjust as the situation comes in. Example of this is looking at the current situation of Nigeria and the economy, and you're looking into starting a future company in this kind of environment. So some of the things that you should first equip your mind with, which is the need for curiosity and continuous learning, is to try and understand the Nigerian market. Look at what is the policy related to the kind of business you want to run. What is the dynamism about it? Then also, you should be a fan of documenting. For every research you come across, you need to document. So then one of the key traits again you need to have. This is one of my best key traits. Whenever I talk to people, this is one of the key traits I always evangelize most time is to be customer centric. So being a developer doesn't stop you to be customer centric. I used to tell people that just like the topic coding to startup, you need to be a developer first, either a developer, a product designer, somebody in a space building a solution, a product with his or her skills. Sometimes you might not be the one writing this code, but working with team that does this. So one of the key traits that help you as a developer is to be customer centric. You need to think beyond writing every functional lines of code. Oh, the code is working, that's all. You need to always look at for every lines of code I input on this software as I'm working with this particular company XYZ, what is the impact on the customer? How can I improve this process? So when you start having these thoughts, even while working for a company in your 9 to 5 job, it's already breeding this mindset that okay, if you own your own startup or venture, definitely you will have a lot of concern about how does every decision you make impact your customer. So in most of my colleagues, whenever I work, I always talks a lot about customer. Sometimes getting on talks with product designer, product managers, they always kind of have this sense of humor that you should be a product manager rather than be a developer. But the whole idea is all about you always empathize with your customer. Another area is the risk taking. Whenever you've come to realize at the stage of your life that, oh, I want to be a builder, I want to be an entrepreneur, or I want to have my own startup, you should never neglect that this is a very big decision of your life that you're taking and it involves some risk. So risks are dynamic and diversified. every risk is tailored to personal influence and the kind of startup or product you're trying to build. So you need to carry out research around the area of product you want to build and what are the risks that is involved. Resilience is never going to be neglected whenever we are talking about being a builder. You have to be strong, you have to be ready to take in and never give up. And also, as you continue doing this, you don't just want to do this with the fact that, oh, you are not setting a goal or having the direction that you're going. You need to always have a goal, because one of the things that help people to be more resilient is when they've defined a kind of career path and goal that, you know what, this is what I want to achieve. If I'm not getting there, what can I do right? What can I do to reiterate in order to get there? So it's very important to have all of these traits. So this is the question: can you have all these traits before you become a builder? Before you start thinking of, I want to have my startup, before you start thinking of, I want to also, oh, I'm a developer, how can I start my startup journey? We, from statistics, it's already clear to us that a lot of successful builders out there, some of them are not software developer. I'm talking about founders now. Reason for this is basically that developers are over time carried away with features over products. So we always focus on, let's just build this feature, let's just get this done, or so at times this is because of some let me say soft skills that we don't imitate, because we believe that everything is just have to be techy. Once I put this kind of functionality there, then the app is robust. No, you also need to know that you are not building for yourself, so that should also be at the back of your mind. So this is part of having the builder mindset as well. So as we speak, as we navigate along this journey, we'll also be highlighting some startups that we all know commonly around us and how they have also used some of these traits in solving a problem in Nigeria. So first thing first, as we get started while on this call, I believe the best person that know you is yourself. So when you want to start as, oh, at this stage of my career, I've decided that I'm also looking into having a product and I want to also be a techpreneur. I want to have a startup. You need to first look at yourself inward, because nobody can define this for you. You need to try to look at what are your strengths. And once you try to do a self-evaluation doesn't have to be a one size fits all. It's repeatable as you go along the journey of your building your product, having your tech startup. You always need to reiterate, re-evaluate yourself again, and try to know what you are doing better as you move along the journey. So for me, as a use case, if I'm in a team, I always first ask myself, what am I bringing to the table? So because you need to ensure that once you understand your strengths and you have done a self evaluation correctly for yourself, you'll be very happy to be among any team, because one of the key traits is that it helps you to understand that you are not just in this team to fill a number or a hole, but you are there to contribute. And one of the things that you'll be holding back to is your strength, which is something that you are good at. And so for me, most times I like talking about improving business processes, and I have tons of experience in documenting that, and as well as how to easily identify a system and talk to customers. So I do a lot of talking to customer and also getting our feedback from customers. So if I'm coming to a team, aside from my technical background, those are the key traits that I see that bringing to a team as a founder or co-founder is something that really help in terms of scaling the business. So what I also need to do as an individual is to improve more on these traits. What can you do better? So if your skill is back-end engineering, and that's what you are very good at when you are thinking into diving into becoming an entrepreneur. See what you can do in improving that skills and what are the soft skills you need to correlate that skills. Example, like as mentioned by the host, marketing and some business skills. So I used to recommend for people to take the startup founders course because it does not help you to, a lot of time I used to tell people that you don't learn to be the greatest founder by going through course, but you rather learn it by doing, meaning constant practicing when you are engaged in that already. So for you to actually improve yourself, you have to start now if you're thinking of being a founder. So do a self evaluation, try to know your weakness and also your strength. Heavily focus on your strength while also looking at how you can improve your weakness. Most times I tell people weakness you are looking at improving are things that if it is lagging and your partner in the tech startup doesn't have, it's something that might affect you guys as a team. So sometimes you can also hire an expertise and consult an expertise that can help you to figure out. So example is having a founder who is a developer and as well as a business person, but you guys are not very good in accounting. So you also can easily take some little accounting course to help yourself. But along the journey, when it gets to scaling and you see that at this stage of your business, you really want to get things done right. So you can easily hire an accountant. So most time decision to hiring comes from scaling. So at the beginning of the journey, what is very important first is to evaluate yourself before you go into starting one, and also to start having a builder mindset. It's not like until I start having a product, that's when I can have a builder mindset. As some of you are already an employee of a company, just like myself, you can look into how do you stand out and uniquely position yourself in working in that company by ensuring that you have all of these traits and you put it into practice of everything you do daily. Reason for this is that it might take you a long journey before you become a startup founder. But if you start your journey with working with company and you started imitating that trait with how you contribute to their product, it make you to be recognized as a leader, because for you to be a founder, you're also a leader. So how do we identify problem? So after you've evaluate yourself and you've really understand that this is what I want to do, the next thing you need to start talking about is identifying a problem. Problem identification is something that is very complex because there is no one size fits all. So some of the areas where you can try to identify problem is your environment. Environment is what I used to tell people, but again, you need to have these two traits: observation and awareness. Observation is all about always looking to what is happening around you, while awareness is about being informed. So I've seen a lot of time that people have reached out to me that they want to build this app that allows to do XYZ. Most times, the first question I ask is, who are your audience? And I don't really get answers for that. So yeah, so the thing is, we as engineers, because this talk is truly focused on most developers, is that we should always try to understand that we have the skill already to build this. If it eventually gets to a stage that there's a technology we want to use that we don't currently understand or know how to do, you can easily learn or even have a partner that understand that part better. But one thing you need to know first is defining the problem, trying to understand what the problem you want to solve. The closer way you can solve a problem is from your room, from your house itself. So let's imagine every day the way you perform your expenses whenever you receive your salary monthly. You really don't understand if it's your personal subscription or maybe some other family expenses that is really eating your budget because you've never set one. So you can easily try to see that, oh, this is actually a problem I'm facing every day. You might want to first try an option of, are there apps doing this already? All of this is all about observation and awareness. Then, if some apps are not solving this, is it a problem that worth solving? Do your research by also reaching out to two, three friends, family, friends, or colleagues. Ask them questions around this space because I used to tell people survey starts from just asking questions with your peers, people that you are free with, before you even start creating links. Most times, a lot of people that create links to get survey response turn out that they don't really get the accurate, honest feedback that they want in terms of that research. So the best way you can get honest feedback are actually people close to you, people that already know your niche and what you're doing. And another optional way you can get best feedback is if you have like an incentive for that feedback so that people can really give honest feedback on what they want to do. But in summary, if you look at this chart, you can see that sporting reward program and customer pay points are kind of not balanced. Reason is, but they are still not standing upside down. Reason is because it's easy to still kind of find a problem, right? Even a reward program because we are human beings, so we can easily perceive. And it's also easy to understand from customer pain points how for every product you are building, you see yourself as the first user and the first customer. But though it go beyond that because when building product is no more your point of view, is also what the other perceive about this product. Is it usable? So the other area which is very complex is the market research and validation because this has to do with having a lot of resources in place in order to achieve that, either through gathering some data. Some companies sell data for some of these researches. So you might not currently, as you're starting your startup or tech entrepreneur journey, you might not currently have access to this, but little way you can easily tap into this is using tools that allow you to access free open data about some research. So there are some statistics data out there that you can easily inference from. If sometimes again the kind of problem you want to solve, you might not really have enough data for it. So let's say you want to solve a problem for the old women and man in your community because you find it over time that a lot of old people stay in your vicinity, but they don't really have the care that they want. And you think because of your observation, just like I said, observation and awareness, you notice that maybe it is, let's say, annually or some festive period that their children used to come around, and most of their kids are maybe a little, if not enlightened, maybe they are kind of very rich, and you see that they are keen into taking care of that. So you can come up with a solution that creates job for people, caregiver. I say that we don't do that most of this year in the part of the world, but it's very common outside country. But again, you don't want to solve a problem that you don't want to provide a product to a market that does not exist. So you need to first do your assignment, which is why having to understand, meeting some of these potential customers, talk to them and understand how they perceive the problem. So just to further buttress the point in how you can identify a problem, because this is one of the key things that we'll be discussing here this evening, is first of all, like we've buttressed a lot of points about this, that's observation and awareness, because that's the starting point to how you can get to start, as if you want to start looking into building a product. The second thing is identifying specific pain points. Most times we get to be carried away with the problem we want to solve, where we don't really get the real pain point of what we're trying to solve. So we have most developers have always tried to generalize when they are trying to solve a problem. So if I ask anyone now building fintech, the answer they always give me is we are trying to innovate fintech so that we can get the unbanked to be banked. So we are trying to do financial inclusion. But in reality, if you look at the whole scope of financial inclusion, you later see that it is still, if not tech savvy, most of the elites are those ones that still kind of use this solution. So what happened to the old age that are not elite, that they still do day-to-day transactions in the market? So over time I see that we are not really fully solving financial inclusion yet. Even when there is introduction of USSD, which is a way that if you have low and enable phone, you can still kind of have a way to, you can still have a way to press some USSD code to still perform some of these operations. In reality, some of these cannot still be done by some of these old people. So we have to so that is where the idea of agency banking comes in, where if you can't do this yourself, then we are bringing the bank to you. So I think this is why if you look at Money Point has been doing great in this space, because that's way in which you can still try to solve problem around financial inclusion. We cannot neglect the fact that you need to conduct market research. So an example use case of how you can conduct market research is first off, identify the problem you want to solve. So you giving a use case here, the problem we want to solve is how it can be easy for people to get noodles easier. So let's say you notice that in your community, you guys used to go to, let's say you are in a rural area and you need to go to a very long distance before you get noodles, for instance, after you've tried to understand your environment, look, observe it, also get awareness around what is the reason behind this. Is it because of the road are not good? And or once you've itemized all of this, you can then try to conduct market research that try to understand people that currently sell in that space. Is it that they've tried to stock this in their shop and they are not really selling? Is that the reason why they don't want to bring noodles? Because with that, it's easy for people to walk into the shop closer to them to buy noodles. Or is it that the price inflation of noodles is very high on the high side that they don't really want to stock it for long, even though the demand, or maybe the stress in getting it down to the right area. So once you have all these variables, so these are the variables that you will now look into in trying to do your customer matrix and market matrix to understand that if this problem is worth solving or not. And you also need to validate the problem. And the easy way to validate a problem is you need to now create a sort of prototype, like a kind of a solution that you think based on your feedback will be the solution to the problem. So you don't always have your first iteration to be the actual solution. Everything is still about test case. So you create this to kind of get the selected users to use this. So most times again, if you want to kind of validate the problem, you don't necessarily need to just have your friend alone to test. You can easily go beyond maybe through your Facebook group or WhatsApp group or communities you belong to, share the solution that you just built and have some people to test it. It gives you more rooms to seeing and empathizing from the actual real user that is going to use this product. And step five is you need to always iterate on the feedback, because you are doing this because of feedback. You don't want to run a survey, a market survey, without actually getting a feedback. So you need to iterate based on feedback. So if version one of every product is never going to be the best product, but it gives you room to be able to understand how to come out to the market. So one of example of this is if you look at the way Andela refined its talent training program based on feedback because developers that have experience working in Andela before we understand this that a lot of refining that happens in Andela from the time Andela started was based on feedback. So as they get feedback from customer, it's help them to easily also, iterate faster. So if another product that is very common that we use is PiggyVest. PiggyVest was a fan of a company that validates very well because when PiggyVest first come out, they don't have all of the features they currently have now in terms of flex and all. They first start with the normal basic savings that everybody can afford, everybody can easily use. So from that time to time, they start intro cross-selling products. So most times when you have a concept or an idea that you want to build, you can easily, anytime that it comes to your mind, keep putting it down, keep jotting it. You need to have an idea jot. It can either be your sticky notes. Now that all of us, most of us are mobile enabled, you can easily have your work pad or sticky notes on your phone that you put all of these. As the idea keep on broadening in your mind, it's very important to keep putting it down because sometimes you might be thinking that the first iteration you want to do is the best one to release to the market. Why not knowing that the one you thought of in later time are actually what you need to release first? And this can only be recognized when you do your market research well and right. So PiggyVest is one of those products that leverage on this very well to be able to perform some of these. Example is also farm crowding. If you look at farm crowding journey, when they understand the pain points for farmers that farmers really want to get investments, they are mostly in rural area and they don't have access to tractor and all of these. So farm crowding with observation and awareness, they were able to understand what this farmer really lack is the access to finance. So they try to bridge the gap with having some trusted partners with the bank and partnership with the bank to understand what these farmers' assets are and how they can easily help these, being an intermediary, help these farmers have access to front. So again, if that's the kind of a use case, let's say that's the kind of idea mindset that you thought of, the next thing you start asking yourself is, oh, I don't know anything about farming, I don't know anything about assets, I don't know anything about financing. That's where the curiosity and continuous learning mindset come from. You start researching, looking at how you can easily understand, gather information around this space and so they were able to achieve this success by carrying out their own market research and survey. I remember that time I was in, I remember that time I was still in school. So I also faced some of their survey then because the way they run their survey, there are some free survey and paid survey, and which they just want to get the direct feedback, honest feedback from people. So it's easy to at the stage of how you're building your startup to easily find your niche of how you can easily run survey. Survey can easily be run via WhatsApp, share a link with your audience and get accurate feedback on them. So then by iterating on this feedback, you then be able to work better on your product. So ideation is one of the key things that before you jump into building a product, you need to first have a prototype. Sometimes a lot of us always neglect the importance of product design in our journey of building a product. So because we also understand as a developer that oh, what if I can just build this feature easily and then roll it out to the market? Yes, you can do that because we also know that one of the fear that developers have over time in building products is personal finance in managing server, securing a domain, and the like. So we have some platform already like Superbase, which is helping you in terms of having some free access as a beginner that set up an app on the platform to easily have access to database that you can use to easily prototype your app. And with the advent of Vercel and Firebase and some of these products that allows us to easily host our static website and as well as dynamic website freely, you can easily leverage on this use case to kind of come up with your product idea. So you don't have a million first before you start. What you need to first put in place is your personal time, which is very key to all founders. You need to know that if you really want to do this, the timing you need to set aside is very important. So now to address, because I run some surveys, so I'm trying to also address some of the questions and concerns that our audience have. Some audience also have it that how can I easily balance me being a developer in a particular company, and also I'm also trying to come up with a product or a startup that I want to push out there without having a conflict of interest. So what I always advise is time management is what you need to do. So you need to manage your time wisely. You don't want to do what you don't want to use your 9 to 5 to be doing your personal business when you're having a contract with a company you're committed to. So most time what you need to do is try to understand your timing. If you cannot dedicate 2 or 3 hours daily for yourself after work, or you look at your strengths, you look at, oh, what I can do is on my weekend, I think I can always try to do something personal. So you need to just ensure that you eradicate conflict of interest first. That's number one. Then for students that are not currently in a full-time job, maybe they are freelancing or not, you can easily manage your time that you or and used to do studying and engage to also know your free time that you so some of this time is times that you can invest in use in building a personal idea or a product that you envisage to build. But again, if you want to build, you need to build with a team. Most times, again, this is the real story behind building with a team has never always been like for every startup always starts with one person, maybe either starting with one person that kind of owned the idea, that thought about the idea, or even start with the developer himself that's thinking about the idea and he has already started building 1 or 2 pages in order to address that problem. But as because having a startup is not just about this kind of business that I just set up and I do anyhow, it's something that you need to incorporate, have a business license, register your business name, all of those things. So it goes beyond just having a tech enabled solution on your desktop or laptop. So there are more other things to it. So, but again, when you start building alone has never been a problem. But when you start looking at scaling, which is why it's very good once you've done your self evaluation, you start identifying some gaps that you need to fill. Then at this point in time, you need to start looking at how you can have a co-founder that can complement you. So if you are very good at marketing, business strategy, and all, maybe you don't even do you know how to use, let's say, WordPress and all, but you are not really too tech savvy, and the kind of problem you want to solve really require a tech partner. So you can easily at that stage, if you've tried something first, maybe just with Figma and product design, reaching out to a colleague that is very good at it. If you come up with something first, you've also tried using the skills, let's say you understand how to use Framer, or maybe you understand how to use WordPress. You've come up with some low code tools that you understand. I'm speaking of people that doesn't code now. You can easily still push out there to start doing your prototype and iterating and validating with test users. And maybe when it goes to a stage that this product, as you are refining it with your user, you now later understand that the key unique features that my audience really want to use require it take partner to be able to get it done. So that's when you start thinking of partnering, also trying to find a co-founder. And the easy way, if you are a student, is first start from your peer. You have a lot of people building great stuff in school, and where you can easily share your ideas with. Sometimes people used to have this mindset of, I don't want to share my ideas, so they won't steal it. I tell people that ideas, same thing you are thinking here, thousands and millions of people might be thinking same thing. The only difference is unique proposition, how you feel about it, and how you've already carried out your research on it. So this is what make everyone stand out. That's why we have a lot of fintech product out there, but how they all stand out is based on their own market penetration and research. So yeah, you shouldn't be afraid of telling people about your idea. What you just need to be afraid of is never starting. So you need to start, because anyone that executes the idea is actually a builder. So yeah, just as a recap, you need to be very curious about being a start founder. You need to be very curious about your environment, curious about your room. Every day as you enter into your room, you might always notice that this foot mat is always placed this way. Why is it now placed in another shape? You need to start studying things around you. You need to be very observant and aware. So awareness comes with curiosity mind of researching. Then one of the things that have helped me is networking as well. So during the my own journey as aspiring to have a future tech startup, I've always networked with great minds that have helped me to reshape how I think about building product, and what not can also help me to improve over time. And these are things that I've put into my day-to-day work, and the way I contribute to working with company, and which it has helped me personally to improve. So this mindset by networking also is very good. So you don't want to go to a tech event if you have a builder mindset and you just want to sit on your on your seat and just watch the whole topic end to end and you go home. You also want to try and talk to one or two or three people around you, know what they are doing, see if they are potential customers to what you are building, share an idea of what you're building, and you can use the opportunity to hear their own perspective about it. This comes like a free research without you paying them to tell you. A lot of people will be readily easily to tell you and tell you about, oh, this thing makes sense, oh, it doesn't make sense, like that. Then you need to leverage on technology. Now that we have the advent of large language model, ChatGPT and Gemini, you can easily make these your personal research partner. So by ensuring that as any product idea is coming to your mind, quickly jump into it and tell GPT to help you come up with an idea, an inference. You can also put a data statistics like, okay, I'm trying to solve a problem in Nigeria and for this kind of age group, and these are the correct pain points that I identify, and how can I position a solution that can solve this. You can sometimes find it that ChatGPT might give you a response that focus more on not even building anything technology per se, just on how to solve it. Then you can leverage for that how can you make this technology enable putting XYZ in place. So yeah, this is it. So it's always easy that at the point of every journey, from identifying a problem to getting the survey right to researching and also getting to your customer, it always require you to leverage on technology tools, because the information is out there. The only difference between the biggest founder and you that is just starting is the amount of access you have to information. So you don't want to house yourself without researching. Then lastly is to seek mentorship. So most times people ask me that it is very hard to get mentorship. That imagine you are trying to start a fintech and you want to maybe enter the DM of, let's say, the CEO of Money Point and trying to say, can you be your mentor? So the easy way that you can get a mentorship is going to be this ask I want to give you. Number one is you should currently have that a problem that you've already defined very well that you've done your primary assignment on. Number two is you should also ensure that you've done your self-evaluation and you know what um your I think sorry, did anyone raise up hand? Yeah, so you need to do your self-evaluation to already have done your assignment because these are the key questions that you'll be asked by mentors. Most of the mentors that personally I've talked to, I've seek their guidance and mentorship. These are the key questions they will ask you. And the last thing is if you can try your best to ensure that at least you have little prototype that you can obviously showcase to your mentor. Because one of the things that interests mentors around startups, around building tech-enabled product is that they see young minds and not just asking them questions, but you're already showing them some steps that you've already taken into achieving the goal. So they are always very readily available to answer your question. If you try this ask, I get a lot of LinkedIn response from big CEOs that you would think they are always very busy to answer your question, but because you've already put something in place that they found interesting, some of them are even looking into, oh, it's great, we would like to hire this individual. So yeah, so those are some of the acts and that I've used over time in doing in engaging in some of these. So just like I mentioned that the second part of this talk, we might not be having it now, it can always be shared as a recap as well for us is when you now have a startup, what next? So the best way you can always have this talk is majorly if you have gotten to that stage of you now have your startup. But for the scope of our talk today, which is about from coding to startup. These are some of the key things that you need to put in place to ensure that yeah, you are ready. And these are things that will get you to that startup stage. So if you get to this stage of this talk, I'll say congratulations. As I also appreciate you for listening because it has been a journey of Judas so far. Yeah. So I can see some hands are raised. Maybe there are some questions. I would like to take in some questions now as we plan to wrap up the meeting.
Wow. I'm excited to hear Ahmed insights navigating the exciting world of freelance startup. So let us give a round of applause for this amazing presentation. That's wonderful. That's wonderful. So now, for those people that doesn't know what Malog is all about, so Malog is a space designed to empower aspiring tech entrepreneurs and coders like yourself. So we offer a variety of resources, workshop, and networking opportunity to help you own your skill, connect with like-minded individuals, turn your dream into reality. So this workshop is a prime example of Malog commitment to fostering your growth and success. So we believe that with this right support and guidance, anyone with passion for technology can become a successful entrepreneur. So whether you are a session coder or just a startup or starting out on your tech journey, Mallob is here to support you in every way. So with this workshop, the recap what Ahmed Olarewaju just presented to us right now, the takeaway is you have to be curious, which is always ask questions and seek to understand the root causes of problem. And at the same time, you have to network, join local tech and startup communities to exchange ideas and gain insights. Stay informed. You have to stay informed for you to be able to keep up industry trends and news to identify emerging problems and opportunities. You have to also leverage technology, which is you have to use online tools and platforms for surveys, research, and prototyping. While the last thing is what? Seek mentorship. Connect with experienced entrepreneurs who can provide guidance and feedback. So due to time, we are going to open space for people to ask questions, which is just 3 questions. So if you ask questions, you can just raise up your hand and unmute yourself and for you to be able to speak. Any question? Okay. Uh, this name. Yeah, you can unmute yourself and talk.
Okay.
Good evening,
Yeah,
everybody.
fine. Yeah, good evening.
Yes, thank you so much for this opportunity. I really appreciate it. And I've learned a lot from this space. I just want to ask a question. The question is, so what do you do to, okay, for me, I have like co-founders for this startup of mine, but then one of them isn't so active, or I would say that isn't taking his work as serious as he's supposed to. So what do I as the CEO or for this startup, what do I do to that kind of person? In as much as we've tried to talk to this person that you know get better, we should be in this together. But then he shows up for a while and then he goes again. He comes up again when you talk to him, and it just feels like as if he does not believe in what we're doing. And he says and claims that he does. So what do I and the remaining person, because we are three co-founders, what do we do to that kind of person that is not responsible for every of his duties and is showing this lackadaisical um, um, attitude to work and building a startup?
Okay. Thank you for the question. I think this is an interesting question, and I like the fact that we are already engaging. So, first thing first that you need to first you need to do is first off to understand your requirements. So, what I mean by requirements is when you are looking into having let's say co-founder, you need to first understand your personal strengths, you yourself, like, oh, these are the things I'm good at. And the reason why I'm engaging this other XYZ person is to cover up in this other space. So you need to have your responsibility well defined because most times people tend to kind of want to take benefit of what they don't really contribute to on the sake of the title. Maybe you define them to be a co-founder, but if you go the other way of having a discussion that, oh, guy, you know what, at this stage of at this stage of our products and some of the inference to how we've tried to talk to each other on getting things done, it is very important that at this level we need to identify priority. So you don't want to. So I used to tell co-founders that co-founders shouldn't be people that are like you're like a boss and employee kind of relationship. It should be more of partners, more of friends. So for instance, you, let's say, being the CEO and the other colleague being a founder, you need to get to that level of being a partner, like just beyond that work. You need to get to know yourself very well. So one of the things you can do to resolve this kind of conflict is drafting a partnership agreement. Even though I used to tell people what is what doing well is what doing right. Even if what you guys are building is helping people to sell, let's say, let me use these common Ilorin and snacks, kuli kuli. Maybe you want to, some people call it bean cake. Helping people to sell kuli kuli easily, maybe moving kuli kuli to the campus. Maybe so if identify that a lot of students are style liking kuli kuli, or when they are traveling to Lagos, they like kuli kuli, and that's the product you guys are trying to build. Once you've defined that space, you need to start coming up with realistic responsibility that, okay, these are the goals that I'll be, these are my responsibility. Each partners, these are is their responsibility. It should be well defined. And as well as the last thing is for, I used to tell people for a startup or a product should be successful, the end goal should be a collaborative spirit, not a competitive spirit. So you don't want to have founders that you guys are competing on what you are doing. Both of you are more or less should be open-minded So what you can do to resolve this is advisable that even is a little product that does not, maybe it has not even make its first 1 year, you can easily have a partnership agreement and define key responsibility of each partner, as well as what are those responsibilities that you guys need to do in collaborative. And the last thing are like areas to address conflict. Example of areas like these are whenever this kind of things happen, how do you address it as a partner? So when that kind of thing happen, it might be that maybe if a partner has like 3 or 4 times warning waiver, there can be some things that affect his or her equity on that. So once you've come with some of those things, believe me, nobody wants to lose money. That kind of founder that doesn't have attitude to work might start getting interested that, oh, I need to put in on my best because if this thing later work and I get to lose it, is so you need to just own that your product, own it in terms of seeing it as if it's worth 1 billion now. It's not just about it's going to worth 1 billion in the next future. See it like that now. And if it is that, what can you then do to secure that your 1 billion? So this is by ensuring that even though it's like a one pager, it can take you 30K, 10K, get a legal person to just tell them what you want to achieve. The person will also advise you that you should take this XYZ step and help you come up with a draft that both of you can go through. And yeah, so with that, I think it will help you because the problem that these founders can lead to is what we call dragging back achieving goals. Because most times when you want to do the stuff alone, it might get so tiring and not easy, especially when there are resource constraints. So yeah, it's very important that having a founder is also good as having a partnership agreement. Even if you are looking at this thing is very we don't have the money yet. There's equity merchants which are also like you can easily consult equity merchants. So they are very good in this space. And you can let them know that you're looking at student package that oh you're just coming up. This is a so all I'm just saying is to solve that conflict, identify key stakeholder or partner responsibility, document it, also have like a conflict resolution around if you didn't do XYZ, what should happen and the likes. But the end goal is you should be open mind and you don't want to have a partner that there's a boss and there's a follower. So it should be more like collaboration than competition. Yeah. So and trust me, you're gonna have a successful product. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. So if anybody have any question, because we have used almost the time,
Okay.
so you can check the chat box. I've dropped the link to join the Marlot community group, and also you can also follow us on our social to stay in the loop. So another, I think in the absence of no question, we are going to round up this workshop right now. So a big round of applause again for Ahmed. His insights on navigating the coding to startup journey we are truly valuable. So
All right.
take
Okay. Sorry, just to also do like a recap because I think that section is kind of not on the slide. Based on the last audience question, it's very important to if you get to the stage of identifying that now I need to start bringing people to join me in this journey, it's very good to define what the journey is as well as what individual responsibility is on that journey because that brings more clarity to what am I doing in this space. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks so much for that. I think any can then have something to say. Hello, hello. Can you please unmute yourself and talk? Okay. So now I'm going to encourage us to stay connected with Marlon for future events and resources that can help you on your entrepreneur journey. And also follow us on our social media accounts. You can check the chat box to see the link. Looking ahead, if you are eager to dive deeper into specific topic covered today, we have some interesting upcoming workshop and events. So if you want to connect with Ahmed, you can check him out on social media platform at Amzi. Yeah, I think I get it right. So I think Kennedy was still raising up his hand. If you have anything to say, please kindly unmute yourself, please.
Thank
Okay,
you
fine.
for having me.
Yeah, thank you so much once again for joining us today. So we hope you found this workshop informative and inspiring.
Hello.
So don't. Uh,
Yeah, I don't know that
well,
I'm talking to myself.
okay.
All right. Thank you so much, Ahmed, for joining us on this wonderful session. It's amazing. We really learn a lot, and it's really satisfying session. Thank you so much. So I have a question, and I think everybody would also love to hear in a very brief, like let's say 30 seconds to 60 seconds. A lot of developers right now, let me just say people that are coming up on board to build different things at the moment, they have this major challenge. Many of them want to kickstart something, but they are currently still searching for something to put food on their table. So whereby they end up having multiple places that they are working. Can you please identify or can you please mention the few strategy that you think developers can use to prioritize what they should uh, do in terms of having deliverables, both for what is bringing them money and what's supposed to be their side hustle startup?
Okay, thank you, Kamal, for that question. Again, first off, the answer first start from personal discipline. So just like I will also do this in more or less like a storytelling. So when you want to start first, the first thing you should ask yourself is, why am I doing this? So if the next answer is, oh, obviously to raise another X amount of money or revenue, then you now look inward to say, okay, what's my personal let me say expenses. Okay, so let's say you currently have a job in company X and you are earning something low as 50K, which let's say 50K is so ridiculous that you can't really use it to meet ends meet. And then you are also thinking at another side that I want to have like a product which you already have 100% passion for it, and sometimes you've even started. Then along the journey, two or three ex company reach out to you again and like, I have this offer for you 400K. This other company tell you I have this offer for you 900K, and you are like, wow. Maybe just like the work flexibility, the way you work, it's allowed that because maybe it's a freelance or you then decide to take all and all. So my advice is this: first of all, understand your priority. Know why you want to do this. Know why you want to go into this tech journey, startup journey at first. The reason is what will drive the other passion, which is why it's very important to have the builder's mindset. If your reason to do this is to make money, then the next thing you should ask yourself is estimating that money in terms of transaction. Oh, if I actually have this product tomorrow, how much can this product make for me in the next 2 months? And you do your math based on your research. You feel like, oh, this product we have gotten me nothing less than triple times of my salary. Then the next thing you need to now ask yourself is, how can I sustain my current um situation to get to that stage? So first off is to have a mindset of a set aside, like I want to set aside this X amount of money. It might be 50K that you want to venture by saving to focus on that startup, because one of the constraints that developer has, I used to tell people, is not the time to start that thing they want to start, but they get I would say they get discouraged when they start looking at X amount of money this thing will take for them to start and the like. So you can first start by investing in yourself, having a fixed deposit that focus on, you just save it and you know that this is to focus on that startup, because a lot of startups start by bootstrapping before they enter venture capital. And they first start by bootstrapping. You need to first use your personal finance. So key takeaway is that you need to first define your priority, that do I want to do this because of money? If that's the case, how can I navigate around my personal expenses and finance to still achieve this? So, and how you can navigate around it is also point two, to have time management. Time management in the sense that if I do my 9 to 5 and I'm a kind of person that I always get tired, I know that I can't do anything. I can't even touch code after 5 o'clock. You now need to start asking yourself that, if what hours can I dedicate to this personal project? Let's now imagine that that personal project, now you now have a colleague that you guys are building it together and you are now the technical partner, because this is where the conflict is to happen. Most time I see that is the developers that is to fuck up. This guy is not even building our product again. He has left it, he's focusing on another one because that one is bringing money. Then the next thing you need to the next thing that you need to do is talk to your partners and define your availability and be committed to it. A partner, I'm 100% dedicated at every weekend 4 hours to this thing. Can we set a milestone for 4 hours that if on weekend I'll be delivering extra? So trust me, you guys will move forward, because for every weekend on Monday, you know you want to ask for an update because your partner, who is the developer, has given you that work. Unlike you guys are still just procrastinating and pushing it, because most time what always happen again is communication. There's always not communication. Like the communication is not always flowing because everybody wants to feel bossy at the stage of founding, because oh, I'm the technical person, he doesn't know Jack. So you don't have to also feel bossy as the technical person. You understand that you are building this not just now but for the future. You need to be accountable to know that for everything I do is also representing how the future of this startup will be. So you need to be available. So I'll use that keyword, being available. So, and all you just have to do is set up your priority, manage your time wisely, communicate more effectively with your partner on your availability. Use that availability matrix, or 4 hours monthly or weekly, that will be available. Then when you get to stage of your building and you start seeing that this guy has actually changed, he's actually dedicated truly these 4 hours weekly on weekends to this thing. But because of when we are looking at our market analysis, we are looking at green life in this. You can do estimation. Can these 4 hours lead us to this feature? If it is no, then the next thing is, as a partner, it is not a crime to start thinking of getting resources. And this is where commitment comes in place. If you can remove 10 naira from each individual pocket, 20 naira, and get a partner that support that technical person, it's also a plus. Plus now you guys are paying someone else. The technical person will also see the impact in this and see more reason why it needs to be available as well for that job, because you don't want somebody to put in into production that will not represent your products well in the market. So thank you, Kamal. I think this also answer some of your concern when it comes to how developers can kickstart. So the first thing they need
Yeah, yeah,
to
thank you so much. Thank you
should be
so much,
available.
Amzi. That answers it all. In fact, more
Yeah,
than enough.
being
Thank you so
available.
much. And yeah, I truly learn from that. And I hope everybody also learns.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the last question for the day. So thank you so much once again, Hamzi, for accepting our invitation for this call. So your insight on navigating the coding to startup journey, we are truly valuable. So, and I take this moment to thank everyone that joined this call. We found the workshop. We hope you found this workshop informative and inspiring. So don't hesitate to reach out to Marlon if you have any question or need any further support. So thank you so much. This is going to be the end of this workshop. And I will be glad if you guys can tweet maybe anything or post anything about what Amzi have said here today and tag us on Twitter. So you can check the chat box. So also follow us on our social media platform and also join our community. You can check the chat box for that. So thank you so much for joining us today. Yeah.